This episode is sponsored by Freely Give. If you need help with Drupal and AI and consultancy around it, just get in contact with us. So, hey there, Marcus here. What I'm gonna show today is how you can use the Drupal's built-in moderation state and have AI control it automatically. So you can do a pre-screening of content where basically AI can tell that, okay, this should probably be flagged or this should probably be allowed to be published. So you can, put your content in the hands of junior editors or even the actual end user. To be able to do this, we're going to use the AI module as usual. We're going to use automators as it's called now. So this, if you have followed my channel, you have seen a lot of videos about the AI interpolator. AI automators is just basically AI interpolator 2.0 with a lot of new functionality, and I'm going to show one piece of that new functionality here. So you need to get that. The thing I added here is still not in the alpha version, so you would have to get the dev currently until alpha 9 exists, and you would need this file, base field override UI. So I'm going to show you what this does. The cool thing with this is that you can use the automators on built-in fields like the moderation state is. You also need the token module for the AI automators to work. So the only thing I've done on this website, I've logged into it, I've added a key for OpenAI. I'm going to use OpenAI. In this case, you can use any provider that you want, but I'm going to showcase this with OpenAI. And I have added admin toolbar, as you can see, and that's it. So I'm going to start adding stuff here. So what we need is the AI core. We need the AI automators. We don't need any plugins for the AI automators. Just the core one will be able to handle this. OpenAI provider, and then we also need to add the base field override UI, and that's it. So if we install all those, that is gonna be enough. Oh no, of course we need to actually install the content moderation module that takes care of the moderation state as well. So this is just a standard installation. It comes with the article, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to workflows, and we're gonna change the editorial workflow, and first of all connect it then to our article. But then we're also gonna add 2 new states. So we're gonna add one that's called flagged. That's not gonna be published, of course. That basically means that AI has flagged this because of whatever criteria you set it to flag on. And when it's flagged, basically an admin should have to go in to put it into pre-published, as we're gonna call the new state. Because of course AI doesn't always get stuff right. Sometimes it's wrong, and then it's good that a human eye goes in and looks at it, but it's at least good to get an initial view of what's working and what's not working. So it's still gonna start at draft, but directly on draft it's gonna either be pre-published or be flagged. And to be able to do that, we have to add some transitions here, which means that when it's adding a draft, it's not allowed to go published. Draft goes to draft, and then published only comes from pre-published in this case. So it has to be pre-published before it can be published, and archive can still be published to archive. Restore to draft, archive could go to draft, archive could go to publish. All that is okay. We're gonna add a new transition, how it becomes pre-published, and that comes from draft. And add the same for flag then. So flagged can come from draft as well. And let's see here, from flagged we need to be able to push it to pre-published as well. So in the pre-published we're also going to say that it can come from the flagged. can be given back from published, of course, as well. And we have the draft as the default. So we set all this, go to our content type, and here we have our fields. But because we added the base field overrides, we get an extra tab here with actual field overrides of base fields you can do. And this is what we're going to work with. So we're going to use the moderation state here. We click add, meaning that we want to take over this. After we have added it, we can click edit, and then the automators will show up. Oh, okay, I should actually fix this error message. So the problem is this. I actually forgot something. We need to actually set up the provider, of course. So I'm gonna select the key, OpenAI key, connect that, save. And this now sets a lot of defaults if you're a new site, where basically it takes over a lot of operation types. Now if we go back here and go to the base field overrides, hopefully there's no error message anymore, can enable the AI automator. And now we can basically either, you know, use a lot of fields, but in this case we just use the body field. So we're saying if the body field contains something that we don't like. So I'm just gonna take a very weird example. Now I can't think of anything, but if the text you see is about Lord of the Rings, make sure it gets flagged, right? So you can copy this placeholders, otherwise it can be pre-published. So we want it to go to pre-published, and we just use text. We do like this, separation, and we copy the context. So it's gonna read this text that is the body of the article. If it's about Lord of the Rings, it should get flagged. Otherwise it can be pre-published, right? And we can just keep all this as it is. What is important are these settings. So I'm just gonna start with not going through these two. I'm just gonna set that it triggers when it's draft. That's important. So normally an automator is triggered when it's the value is empty, but this value is never empty. So you have to tell it when should you trigger it, and you always trigger it when it's a draft. So if you actually want draft, you should probably add a pre-draft or something like that, so you actually can have a draft as well. So I save this now, and I just go to create an article, and my new article, yesterday I ate pudding. This shouldn't be flagged, right? So if I save it now, you can see it becomes pre-published. So we try the same thing again here. Yesterday I met Gollum. So you can see I don't use the word Lord of the Rings. AI is smart to understand context. And save it, and now it should then be flagged because this was talking about Lord of the Rings. So that is an initial way you can set this up, but there is actually more to it because as I said, it might not always be perfect, and you might wonder why did it do what it did. So what you can actually do is create a new plain text long. It has to be a plain text long, and call it state moderation reasoning or something. You can call it whatever you want, of course. Reasoning. You just save this. This field, of course, you should hide from the end users. I can do it here just to show you how you do it, so they don't see it. It should just be part of the actual forms you see, right? And when you have added that, you can go back to the moderation state, and you can actually tell it in the bottom that, you want to store the explanation, and you get all the long text fields. So we just say we want to store this in state moderation reasoning, and I will showcase this again now then. So I create another article. Oops, Golem. I met Golem yesterday. And you can see, you see this field. It might be that if you don't want to expose this to the editors, that you have to have like field permissions. But I mean, you get the idea behind this. So now it got flagged. If I click edit now, you can also read here. The text mentions Gollum, a character from Lord of the Rings, therefore it should be flagged. So you get a reasoning. And that is it. I will explain the last thing that actually exists there that might also be interesting, because I mean, this is fine when you actually want AI to read through something very nuanced and have a deep understanding of the text, then OpenAI, Anthropic, Claude, Llama, 405B or Gemini or something are great for this, right? But they send the data. So if you have other reasons why you want to stop this, like this has personal information, of course you don't want to send this to OpenAI because that's personal information, right? So there is another mode in here. So usually the automators are pretty complex. They create complex JSON, so they need a model that is medium-sized at least. But there is this thing you can do. So you can use small model and basically look for these states. So you're looking now for pre-published and flagged. And and you can actually still store the explanation. So what's going to happen now is that you can use a local model like Gemma 2B or Phi3 2B, Phi3 1B, that are so small that they can even run on a Raspberry Pi. They are not super good at creating JSON. They are not super good at answering exactly as you want, but they are fairly good at understanding text and what you want to have read out of the text. So what is happening here, when you say that it should be looking for flagged or pre-published, what it's gonna do, it's gonna take the whole answer that might be something like, yes, I can look for this. It seems like they mention Gollum, that is part of the Lord of the Rings, therefore this is flagged. And when you use this, it's basically gonna look for the word flagged anywhere, and if it finds the word flagged, it's gonna flag it. Same with pre-published word then. And that way you can have a first screening that actually runs locally, that's not sent to some third party, which means that you can check for PIs and stuff like that without having any privacy concerns. Yeah, so that's how the state moderation automator works. Thank you for watching.